You know that feeling, right? You blink on a Monday morning and suddenly it's Friday afternoon. So today we're going to dig into why time seems to speed up the older we get, and more importantly, if there's anything we can do to slow it all down.
Yeah, it's a really strange, kind of unsettling feeling. The weeks just blur together. Entire seasons can pass in what feels like a moment. And it just makes you wonder, is this all just in our heads? A bit of nostalgia for when we were younger? Or is something actually happening inside our brains? Well, according to the science, the answer might surprise you. This is not just a feeling. It's a measurable fact.
Okay, so first up, let's just look at the evidence. Is this whole thing real, or are we all just imagining it?
And the answer from the research is a resounding yes. It is absolutely real. So no, it's not just you getting older and thinking back on the good old days. Scientists have literally measured this.
So how on earth do you measure a feeling? It sounds impossible, right? Well, it turns out some very clever scientists figured out a way to test that little clock that's ticking away inside all of our heads. It all goes back to this landmark 2016 study. Researchers basically decided to put that old saying, time flies as you get older, to the test, but with actual, hard data.
And their method was, well, it was simple but kind of genius. They got 233 people, split them into 3 different age groups, and gave them just one simple instruction. Close your eyes, and in your head, count to what you think is exactly 120 seconds. Then open them. They were basically timing everyone's internal stopwatch.
So, what happened? The results were pretty wild. The youngest group, they were almost spot on, opening their eyes just a few seconds away from the 120-second mark. But the oldest group, wow. They were sure 2 minutes had gone by, but in reality, on average, only 87 seconds had actually passed.
Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. Their own internal clock was telling them 2 full minutes were up, but the real-world clock had only moved forward by about 1.5 minutes. That is a huge gap.
And this is the key takeaway, right here. It is not just a feeling. It's a real biological, psychological thing. The study confirmed it. As we get older, our internal clock literally starts running faster than the one on the wall. Our brain's perception of time actually physically changes.
Okay, so we've established that this is a real thing. But that just opens up an even bigger question, doesn't it? Why? What is going on inside our heads that makes time feel like it's hitting the fast-forward button?
Well, the leading theory is something called the novelty theory. And the idea is pretty simple. Our perception of time is all about how much new information our brain has to process. When we have a brand new, unexpected experience, our brain goes into overdrive, recording every little detail. And all those details, they make that stretch of time feel way longer when we look back on.
Just think about the difference between a kid's day and an adult's day. For a kid, life is just one first after another. Their brain is constantly creating new files for everything they see and do. But for us adults, our lives can easily become, well, a copy-paste routine, right? Same commute, same coffee, same tasks. The brain just goes, yep, seen this before, and it kind of stops paying attention, stops recording the details. And that's when whole weeks or even months just seem to blur together.
Hey, it's not just about novelty. There's some other stuff going on too. For one, our brain chemistry changes. Dopamine, which is like a key neurotransmitter for timekeeping, tends to decline as we get older. And then there's just the simple math of it all. Think about it. For a 5-year-old, 1 year is a whopping 20% of their entire life. For a 50-year-old, it's only 2%. So of course, each year feels shorter in comparison. We even have brain scans that show the memory centers of our brain light up way more during new experiences.
You can see this in extreme examples, too. I mean, you'd think time in solitary confinement would be the slowest thing ever, but it's the opposite. Because there's nothing new happening, the brain just stops recording, and prisoners often report that the days just evaporate. But then, on the flip side, take a scary roller coaster ride. A 30-second ride is often perceived as lasting 38 seconds. That fear and adrenaline forces the brain into this hyper-aware slow-motion mode, recording every single tiny detail.
Okay, so you've got novelty, you've got dopamine, you've got routine. All of these ideas kind of feed into this one really elegant theory that pulls it all together. It's called mental chunking.
And the concept here is pretty cool. Our brains are always trying to be more efficient, right? To save energy. So what it does is it takes all these similar, routine memories and just bundles them up into one big, low-detailed chunk.
Here's how it works in the real world. Imagine a walk in the park. For a little kid, that's not just one memory, it's dozens. There's the memory of seeing a weird-looking bug, the memory of what the grass felt like, the sound of a new bird. Each one is its own separate, distinct memory file.
But for an adult, someone who's been to that park 1,000 times, the brain just doesn't bother with all those little details. It takes the entire experience and just files it away as one big chunk called afternoon at the park. And just like that, dozens of potential memories get squashed into one. And a life that's made up of these huge, blurry chunks is going to feel a heck of a lot shorter than a life made up of lots of tiny, detailed memories.
So, if routine and this chunking thing are what's hitting the accelerator pedal, then it seems like the solution is to break them, right? The science itself actually gives us a roadmap for how we can consciously hit the brakes on time.
So how do we actually fight back? Well, the science gives us a pretty clear strategy. We have to break the routine. And it doesn't have to be some huge life change. It can be something small, like just taking a different route to work, or something creative, like finally starting that hobby you've been thinking about. It can even be as simple as writing down 3 new things about your day before you go to sleep. Every single one of these actions forces your brain to stop chunking and start recording again. There was even this one study that found a 72-hour digital detox can help reboot our perception of time, just by making us engage with the world differently.
And all of this really leads to a final, and I think pretty powerful idea. This isn't just some trick to make time feel slower. It's about making our lives feel, well, fuller. I think this is the real heart of it. Routine makes our lives feel light, almost weightless, so they just fly by before we even notice. But new experiences, creating new memories, that's what gives our days weight and substance. They're like these little anchors that keep our lives from just floating away.
So, I'll just leave you with this one question. The goal here isn't to go out and radically change your entire life overnight. It's much simpler. It's about breaking just one tiny piece of your routine. So what is the smallest possible change you can make today, right now, to create a new memory and give this day its